Hey, what's going on, my fellow idiots? Welcome back for another episode of Idiot Proof Cooking. So I'm making butter tarts today. Now, growing up, us Canadians are taught that butter tarts are a quintessentially Canadian dessert. And, I have no frame of reference to determine if that's a truth or a lie. I mean, hey, they are pretty popular up here. I just, I've never known if they're made in the States or in Europe. So, if you're from the States, from Europe, if you've had a butter tart, let me know. But, I mean, they're really popular up here, and up here in Canada, people do say it is a Canadian dessert. Essentially, it's a tart with a buttery, sugary filling, and there you go. But they are so tasty. Like, I absolutely love them. They're so easy to make, and I really think you'll enjoy them if you've never had them before. That's why, I'm really excited to make them today. So let's get into making it. So the first thing we're going to do is make the tart pastry for the butter tarts, and this is my go-to recipe. So start off by adding in 5.5 cups of all-purpose flour into a large mixing bowl, and then add in 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Next in is 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and then 3 heaping teaspoons of brown sugar. Pour that all in, make sure that the brown sugar is not particularly clumped up, but then whisk all of the dry ingredients together until they're thoroughly combined. Once they are, it's time to set aside the mixing bowl for a quick second because we're going to deal with some wet ingredients. Get yourself out a measuring cup, and the first thing we're going to do is crack a large egg into it. Make sure you don't get any shells in there. I sometimes do. Next, we're going to add in a tablespoon of white vinegar, and that's going to make the pastry nice and flaky. And then the next step is get out some cold water, and we're going to pour it into the measuring cup with the egg and the vinegar until the line of liquid reaches 3/4 of a cup. Eyeball it carefully like I just did. Then we're just going to get out a fork and mix the egg, vinegar, and water together until they're thoroughly combined. Set that aside for a moment and then go get out 1 pound of lard. I like to use lard in my pie pastry. So anyways, drop the 1 pound block into the all-purpose flour and then go get your wet ingredients and pour them on top of the lard and the flour. All we're going to do now is cut the lard in with all of the ingredients and make sure it's thoroughly combined. Now you're going to have to use a little bit of elbow grease here. The lard is a little bit thick and you really want to chop it up so that it's tiny little pieces throughout the entire flour. You're looking for it to form a shaggy pastry dough at this point in time. It's going to take, 3 or 4 minutes of mixing and cutting it in. It is going to be shaggy still. Like as you can see here, this is the consistency that you're going to get. But once the lard's fully cut in, all you're going to do now is tip the bowl out onto your work surface and knead it. So just tip it out. There we go. And like I said, we're just going to knead it to form a cohesive pastry. It's only going to take maybe 2 to 3 minutes of kneading at this point in time. You're just looking for it to smooth out and form a nice cohesive pastry. So just knead it back and forth on your cutting board, on your work surface, until there's really no dry spots left over. It's still going to be pretty flaky, and that's what you're looking for, but you're really just looking to knead it into a smooth and cohesive piece of pastry. After you've done that, wrap it up in some plastic wrap and stick it in your fridge for the next 30 to 40 minutes to cool down. Now, as you should see, that's a lot of pastry, way more than what we need to make 12 butter tarts, but I may be using pastry in an upcoming video again soon, so hint hint, I guess. After the pastry's cooled down, I've cut out enough of it to make 12 tart shells, and I've put them in a muffin tin here. Now, I've got a mixing bowl out, but I don't really need that yet, so let's set that aside for a quick moment because we're going to throw some raisins into the butter tart shells. Now, this is a hotly contested topic up here in Canada. Do raisins belong in butter tarts? I'm a firm believer, yes, they do, but there is a very vocal percentage of the Canadian population who thinks that raisins belong nowhere near butter tarts. They're wrong. So anyways, let's make the filling. Into a large mixing bowl, add in 3 cups of brown sugar, then 1 cup of melted salted butter. From there, we're going to add in a tablespoon of vanilla paste, and then we're just going to mix the sugar and butter and vanilla paste together until it's thoroughly combined and it forms a sugary, buttery paste, much like what you can see I have here. It's a pretty thick consistency at this point in time, and we're going to thin that out and make it more into a filling by adding in in 4 large eggs. So crack them all in, make sure you don't get any shells like I said earlier in the video too, and then just break the yolks and mix the eggs in with the butter and sugar, and really that's it. Like, that's the butter tart filling in a nutshell. Like, it's that simple. Just mix it until it's thoroughly combined, it's nice and smooth and cohesive, and you're going to have a butter tart filling right there. Look at that. So all we're going to do now is fill up our tart shell. So I'm going to use a ladle here. No matter what you use, a ladle, a spoon, you know, good luck to you with whatever you want to use. It's going to be messy. You're going to get like little drippings all over your pan. It's just a messy endeavor altogether. So, you know, do your best. Make sure you don't spill as much as, you know, you're going to make a mess. Let's just end it there. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit at this point in time and bake these for 20 to 30 minutes until they come out nice and golden brown and risen like this. So all we've got to do now is let these cool down for the next 2 hours or so that the filling sets and they obviously cool down. It's a hard 2 hours though, because you're going to want to crack into these, let me tell you. After 2 hours, you can see they've sunken in a little bit and the filling has set. These are perfect. They smell amazing. You know what? I love butter tarts. I've been making them since like high school. I just absolutely love them. They're so delicious, so rich, and so easy to make. So let's go in and taste test them. I'm just going to pull one of them out here. Let me give you a quick close-up shot of it here. Look at how beautiful that is. The filling is nice and golden brown and it's thick. Oh man, the pastry is perfect all the way around. This is a awesome looking butter tart. And you know what? I'm going to cut it in half so you can see some of the center of it here. Like I said, it's set. It's nice and thick. There's the raisins in it. Yep, it's time to go in for this. And as you can see, Rose is pretty excited to get into it too. She's had them since, you know, she's been born, because I've been making these since she's been born, obviously. And yeah, that is amazing. That is a quintessential delicious butter tart. Oh man, I absolutely love these. They are so good. And let's give Rose a taste test here. Look, she wants to have her own, but she goes in for the taste test. And does she like it? Oh, she still wants her own, but we get the thumbs up. All right, there we go. You can have half of one, Rosie. But let's end it here with this. Make these if you've never made butter tarts before, because they are so good, and I guarantee you'll love them. I hope you like what you saw here today. If you did, why don't you drop me a comment, like the video, or even subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching Idiot Proof Cooking, and we'll see you again soon.